Hi, welcome to this episode of Being Me. I am your host, Caroline Gaiduma. Being Me is a self-awareness toolbox where we highlight all the healing and wellness modalities available in the country. In today's episode, we have something called quantum breathing. And to talk about that, we have an amazing practitioner, Alexandra. I'm not going to say your second name.
Vaporidis.
So tell us, what's your name, and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Alexandra Vaporidis. I'm a school counselor and a private practice therapist.
Yeah.
I've been using quantum breathing for over 8 years now.
Yeah.
And quantum breathing is actually an extension of transformational breathing, something that was developed by Judith Kravitz. And so a German lady came, moved to Kenya and started training people in quantum coaching, which is where I learned the quantum breathing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So people might be thinking that you're new here. You know, tell us, because I think some of these modalities are so new to us.
Right.
We think that only somebody from outside knows about them and then they bring them in. But you're born here, right?
Yes, I'm third generation East African. So I'm born here. I studied here.
Yeah.
I grew up here.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm. Yeah.
So how did you come across quantum breathing?
So I was studying neuro-linguistic programming. It's a life coaching course, and I did all 2 levels. And after the second level, you have the choice to do a postmaster course.
Yeah.
And this is what my trainer was offering. Her name is Karen at Tarukot.
Yeah.
And she'll be coming back to Kenya next year, by the way. So she'll be continuing the trainings.
Yeah.
But she's been away for a few years.
Awesome.
So that's where I learnt it. And it really takes, I think, over 100 hours of quantum breathing yourself to become a practitioner.
Wow.
But it's really, really amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. Before we go to quantum breathing, here at Being Me, we talk about being proactive, about your mental and emotional health. Connect to us the dots between how is breathing related to my mental and emotional health?
Yeah, it's very much related. I mean, part of the quantum breathing is to analyze the breath. So I can actually analyze your breathing based on this technique. So it really is something that you can use on yourself every day to keep yourself in balance, to really help yourself go through difficult situations. And it's really something you can use before things get really bad.
Yeah. And I believe that there's a difference in how people breathe when they are stressed and how people breathe when they are okay.
Yes.
What's the difference?
Very much. So you'll find people with anxiety, stress, worries, we really breathe up on the upper chest.
Yeah.
It's a little bit shallow and quick.
Fast.
Yeah. So whereas people who are grounded and very confident and very settled in their emotional well-being will breathe lower in the belly. And so we are actually training you to breathe the way you're supposed to breathe, to really feel strong, connected, healthy.
Yeah. Awesome. Now tell us, what exactly is quantum breathing?
Okay, so quantum breathing is a diaphragmatic breath. It's an open mouth breath. And a session can take between 45 minutes to an hour. And it's an intentional set breathing. So you have an intention before you start breathing. For example, you say, I want to feel less anxious. I want to feel calm and confident. Or I want to release some of the trauma of my childhood.
Yeah.
And so we discuss this in a sort of coaching session. And then I put you on a mattress and I ask you to focus on your lower belly and really breathe in that lower belly. So you're pushing the diaphragm as low as you can to really expand the breath. And so you're breathing like this actively for 45 minutes to an hour.
Wow.
That's what it is, yeah.
So there's some breathing, there's some breathing exercises I did a while back and I felt lightheaded. So are there any effects?
Definitely, yes.
How do you feel?
So oxygen is a very high vibration and that's why we use it. We use our own breath to release heavy emotions, negative emotions. Positive emotions will not stay. You will not feel happy forever because it's a very light emotion, so it will come and go. But oxygen, you will get a high from the oxygen because we are used to breathing 30 to 40% capacity of our lungs. So now what I'm asking you to do is breathe 70% or more. So you get lightheaded, you get dizzy, you
Yeah.
get dry mouth, but all this happens during the session.
Yeah.
Once it's over, you go back to your normal self.
Yeah. Wow. And what are some of the things that you have found people have overcome or gotten
Yes.
over as a result of quantum breathing?
Definitely trauma-related issues from childhood, or, for example, I use this method with people who were in the Westgate attack, Dusit, you know, so it really does help with any kind of trauma which is stuck in the body, which is what trauma does.
Yeah.
Grief is another one, you know, grief where you cannot get over the loss of something or someone.
Yeah.
And any heavy emotions, you find people are carrying them for years and years, and it's just living in the body.
Yeah.
It finds a nice comfortable place, maybe the liver, maybe the shoulders, and it just stays there. So every time, for example, you get angry, that anger that is already sitting there will get triggered, and it will pile it on. So it will just add on to the existing anger.
Wow, and that's something very interesting, because the next thing I wanted to ask you is, what are some of the things that you must know, like some of the bases that you must believe to be true or understand that are true, that will allow you to actually be open to such a modality? Because as you're saying, emotions stick in our bodies, in our organs. Most people don't know that or don't believe that. What are some of the things that you must know, I guess?
So to do this session, you must know that your breath is life. You're breathing life into your body.
Yeah.
You must know that you have an intention that you're focused on. You're not just breathing because it's something you want to try. You have something you're focused on, and you create a picture, and that's what you're breathing into your body. And you're breathing out whatever is blocking you. Okay?
Yeah.
And so you must understand the concept of emotion, energy in motion.
Emotion, yeah.
And high vibrational energy in motion, emotions don't stay. They come and go. Low vibrational emotions, let's call them negative emotions, which are, without judgment, very important, can stay in the body. They are heavy and they just sit there. So oxygen really goes in and pulls them out energetically. And that's really some of the things you need to know. And also that whatever happens in a breathing session stops after. You know, you may feel cramping, you may feel sick, you may feel a lot of things, and it can be scary. But whatever happens in the session finishes in the session.
I have done a breathing session, and it actually at some point felt like I was gonna die.
Yes.
And it was interesting because I feel like I'm gonna die from breathing. I'm supposed to be coming alive.
The research shows no one has ever died from a breathing session. But it really feels like a life or death situation, because you're letting go of things that you've been holding on to for such a long time. They feel normal, you know? So now being asked to let go of these things, change, we don't like change. As much as we want it, we are not easily accepting of change.
Yeah, of change, definitely. So tell us what to expect in a session. So what exactly goes on?
So after we have established an intention for the breathing, and I put the person down on a mattress, I guide them into a visualization of what that intention might look like. And once they have that picture, feeling, color, I ask them to open their mouth, start breathing deep in the belly, and really guide their breath, you know, and open the breath, which is what we do in the first session. And so the breathing has 3 stages. The first stage is really where we're focusing on opening the breath. You know, we're feeling all these new things. We're trying to breathe properly. And the second stage is now where you've established a proper breathing pattern, and you're really focusing on that. And you know, as emotions come and go, that might interrupt the breathing pattern. So we try and bring the person back to the proper breathing. We do this by toning and pounding. You've ever seen a child having a tantrum? That's what I ask them to do. I ask them to make a tone.
As they are breathing, or you have stopped after
you take a deep breath and you go for as long as your breath can carry you. And you're pounding your hands and your feet so that you can release all that pent-up emotion, energy, which feels like tingling, it feels like cramps, and all that is releasing.
Wow.
And the third part is really where you are now coming back to the body. You're finishing the breathing. You're concluding, let's say. You're releasing anything that is still lingering that wants to be released.
Yeah.
And then you're having a relaxation period.
Yeah.
Where you go back to normal breathing and you just rest. And that's a really amazing time. That's when integration happens. That's when the body can come back to normal. You know, because it's a lot of work breathing like this. We're not used to it.
Yeah. Wow, that's a lot of things that I've learned in just these few minutes that we've been having a talk. So I want us to go on a break. So stay with us. When we come back, we're going to talk about real life application and who can benefit from this modality. So don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This episode of Being Me. On this episode, we're talking about quantum breathing, and we are here with practitioner Alexandra, and she's been telling us about what exactly happens in a session. And you mentioned about kids throwing tantrums, and we have a big problem with that because we have sort of not normalized that, and we are very personal about how kids behave because it reflects on our image you know, it's like our rating as parents. But I think that's therapeutic and it's a natural thing for them to do.
Right.
It seems to release
Very
those
much.
emotions.
Yes.
And so what happens when an emotion is being released? What's the experience? Does it come up as grief if I'm releasing grief, or does it come up as an ache here? How does it come
That's a
up?
good question.
Yeah.
For many people, it starts physical. So you feel pain, you feel physical pain, when actually it's just emotional pain. And as the facilitator, I'm actually pressing points on the body to help with the release. So they go, ow, you know, or they start crying.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's both physical and emotional. So people start laughing hysterically, they start crying, they start vomiting at times. You don't know what's going to happen in a breathing session.
Yeah.
8 years of this work and I still get surprised, you know.
Yeah.
But everything is okay. That's the main point, that everything that happens is okay. It's just a release.
Yeah. And I want you to talk to somebody who thinks that they probably don't have emotions stuck in them because they probably are not feeling stressed or depressed.
Very
they
true.
feel they are okay. Is somebody like that, you know, gonna release something in a session?
Yeah, so many of us are not emotional. We don't express emotion, which doesn't mean we don't have them.
Yeah.
We're just very good at masking them or not feeling them. We suppress emotions. And this is why we do this work, because we all suppress emotions.
Yeah.
So emotions can express themselves physically. You may have a lot of backache, headaches, knee ache, you know. The body is speaking to you and telling you there's something going on here.
Yeah.
You're not willing to address it emotionally, but I'm here physically.
Yeah.
So you have physical issues, illnesses, you name it, can come through as an emotion that's suppressed.
Yeah.
And it's coming out physically.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing. I just thought of an analogy of a river. It's like going to quantum breathing is like going to the river to bathe and you're letting everything be washed away. But then for people who are afraid of dealing with emotions, what do you have to say about
this is a safe way actually to deal with your emotions, because you don't have to talk about it.
Yeah.
You don't have to say anything. You just say, this is what I'm dealing with, this is what I want, and I'll coach you a little bit towards an intention.
Yeah.
And then you lie down and you breathe.
Yeah.
You know, so it's perfect for people who don't want to go into the story.
Yeah.
Or don't have to go into the story. You can just breathe it out.
Yeah.
And your emotions will be acknowledged and they will be addressed.
Yeah.
You know, so definitely I would recommend this for people who don't want to talk, who are not into therapy, who are scared of expressing the emotions verbally.
Yeah.
Just lie down, open your mouth and start breathing.
And breathe it out.
Yeah.
Do you find between men and women, who mostly is your clientele?
I mean, for sure women, but the men are really coming in. They're really recognizing the benefits and the need, and they're seeing the effect on the women. So definitely I have more and more men coming.
Yeah.
I have lots of children With children, it's not so serious. We do it in a much shorter session. We do it in a group, so they come with their siblings or with their friends or in their class, and it's more like a game. You know, I tell them there's a balloon in your belly, so when you breathe in, that belly and the balloon expand, and when you breathe out, it deflates. You know, so they really enjoy it and they really feel the benefits. And they feel the pain too.
They feel the pain.
Do
they cry?
Sometimes, it depends on what they're dealing with and how open they are and how much they've experienced. But definitely they feel the physical. They don't cry as much as adults do, I must say.
Because I think they have less stuff in their trunk.
Very true.
Yeah. And how, what about age-wise? Like, what's the ages that you find are more open to coming to such a session?
From my experience, I mean, anywhere from 20s to 40s, that is my range. I do have older people who are dealing with grief, transitions, but really my range is between the 20s, the young adults, and the 40s to 50s. I mean, that is separate from the work I do in schools where I focus on teenagers.
Awesome. Now there's we are right in the middle of a pandemic. And this pandemic, we can't breathe.
It's true.
It's true. We are all masked up.
What
effect does that have on our emotional and mental health? The fact that we are not able to breathe. Maybe now we are breathing even 20 or 15% capacity. What effect does that have?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example. You know, when we have a cut, when we cut ourselves, the first thing we do is we hold our breath. We trap the pain, right? So
that's what happens.
Yes, so we do that with emotions as well. We feel sad, we feel angry, we feel stifled. What do? We breathe even less because we don't want to feel that. So what we're doing now is the opposite. We're telling you, breathe. Breathe into the pain, feel it, and release it. It will not stay. So with this pandemic, you find a lot of breathing issues, right? Not just with the virus itself, but the fact that we're masked up, that we're in closed spaces, or we feel confined. We have to actively, consciously breathe. And there are many conscious breath work techniques. This is just one. This is the one I use. But there's the Wim Hof method. There's the transformational breathing, which is what this has come from. There's breathing that we learn in yoga. So breathing actively, consciously, on purpose is really what I would recommend for everyone going through this time. You know, because breath is life. You're breathing in life. If you just have that as your intention, you will feel better. You know, you will feel a change in your body. And I think it's a gift that all of us have access to. Exactly. It's only that I think, and I'm realizing in how we are brought up and the way society is structured, we are not taught the basics of the basics. There are some things we are taught to overlook, to assume. Like now, many people I know, some of them are watching us, thought they knew what breathing is. Exactly. We all do it, right? We come out breathing. I mean, the first moment you're born, you breathe. So when you tell somebody that you need to learn how to breathe, they're like, I've been breathing all my life. That's why I'm alive. That's it. Yet there's a difference. There's a difference between survival and thriving, right? Yes, exactly. And we just tend to survive. And I think that's what everyone is in default doing, surviving. You mentioned that quantum breathing has a basis of transformational breathing. What's the difference? I know we might talk about transformation breathing, but then what's the difference? To be very honest, there's just a few things that are different. The basis is the same. Karen, the lady who came up with quantum breathing, basically added some points and more coaching to the process. Because transformational breathing is like, what's your intention? Lie down, breathe, and it works. But now when you bring in a bit more coaching, what do you want out of this? How will you see yourself in the future? Why is this important to you? Then there's an element of coaching therapy, purposefulness that you bring into the quantum breath. That's what I would say is the difference. Wow. So in this particular moment, in a daily application, like I have my whole life from 8 to 8. What are the small moments in my daily routine should I incorporate conscious breathing? That's great. So when you're going into an important meeting, or you're going to have an important phone call, or you're going to have a difficult conversation, I would say take a few minutes, go to the bathroom, find a quiet place, and really actively breathe in your belly. You know, so bring the breath down. What does that mean? Push the breath down so that the diaphragm pushes down, and you're breathing fully. And you can do this standing up. Some people do the power position where they put their hands on their hips, they stand like this, and they breathe as low as they can, and they allow the breath to flow. So if you can do this for 5 minutes, or how we call it 100 breaths, that will really energize you to go into whatever it is. You know, if it's the end of your day and you're exhausted and you're going back to your kids, or you're going to bed, or you're waking up in the morning, it can really help you.
It can help.
And you can have a small intention in mind. I want to feel confident. I want to feel energized. You know, it can be something like that.
Wow. What about conscious releasing of emotions? I know sometimes we are not even aware that we are dealing with emotions. Like like you just had a conversation and you felt a certain kind of way. Ideally, we just and then move on to the next. So how do you, how can you advise people to consciously deal with emotions on a daily? Don't stock them up and deal with them on Saturday.
Definitely, you know, definitely. So in the moment, it can be tricky. But it's really okay to take a moment and reflect and really connect to yourself. And say, what am I feeling right now? I felt a bit ashamed. I felt a bit judged. Why am I feeling this? When was the last time I felt like this? So a little bit of reflection. And actually just creating space. So if you feel a tightness in your throat, pay attention. And say, okay, I feel you now. I know you're there. I'm sorry. What do you want to say to me? And it sounds a bit crazy. You're talking to your emotion, but actually you're giving space to what is already there. You know, so like a little child pulling at your shirt, give me attention, give me attention. Now you turn to the child, you look at it, you say, okay, what can I do? What's going on? How are you feeling? We need to practice this on ourselves. And okay, we can't do this in the middle of a board meeting or in the middle of a social situation, but we can make sure we do it later on in the day. Or like I said, take a moment, go for a walk, go to the bathroom, you know? There are small things we can do. We can attend to these emotions later. But we need to acknowledge, I'm feeling something. I don't know what it is. I know it's important, and I will address you later. Or I will give you the attention you need.
Exactly.
Because that might lead to another emotion or another feeling, you know?
Because it always is like a rock rolling down and it's gathering moss. Because this leads to that, and then at the end of the day, you don't know exactly what started what. So what about, you know, and we're saying the way emotions keep piling and piling and piling, and sometimes they are related to other people. Is it something that you can incorporate at work maybe, or with your kids, or you know?
It works in every setting. In terms of conscious breathing, something you can do as a family, something you can do as a group of people in the office, or even just for yourself. People will trigger you. How do you deal with that? How do you come back to your equilibrium so that you can do what needs to be done? At the same time, not ignoring what you're feeling. So at work, at home, relationships, difficult relationships, memories that keep coming up, you know? There's something that wants to be looked at, given attention.
Exactly. And I've talked to a couple of people, and you know, a lot of memories have been coming up, especially now that we are staying at home.
That's true.
Whether you're alone or with family that you're not necessarily so deeply connected in the past. And so people are triggering each other, triggering themselves, and then life is going this way and that way, and life is changing so fast, so much. So I think this is something that's really, really important. And I feel, you know, that what you're doing is amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it is something. We have the time now to whether we like it or not, to feel certain things. We're not busy like we are.
Exactly.
We used to be. So definitely there is a lot more time and space and people who will bring up these feelings and emotions and memories.
So if anybody wants to do a session with you, or to try, do you give free sessions to try, or how much is a session?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Tell us.
I do give people taster sessions if they want to meet me and know what I do and get to know what it's all about. I do 20-minute taster sessions, which is free.
Yeah.
And then I do charge 8,000 for a session. That includes coaching, whether it's breath work or something else.
Yeah.
It's a full session, an hour and 15 minutes of working on something. I don't like to do one-off sessions, so I usually ask people to commit to 5 sessions.
Yeah.
And then we really work on something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know that these modalities, from the previous interviews I've done, these modalities are not like instant, because also change happens progressively.
Yes.
So of course, that's why probably you don't want to do just one session.
Right. You may go home feeling much worse after one session because things have been brought up. So it's my responsibility and yours to say, okay, we need to continue.
Yeah.
You need one straight after, you need one in 3 days, you need one in a week. We need to address that.
Yeah.
Otherwise you can really feel much worse, because you are bringing things up that's great, but you need to complete the process, right?
Awesome. So where can people find you?
Okay, so I'm based in Nairobi. I have a Facebook profile. Where else can people find me? Family Constellations Kenya is a page I run on Facebook. And
or us.
Of course, you guys.
Yeah, of course you can. You can ask us to help you find Alexandra. We'll find her for you if you need a session from her. So thank you so much for giving us this amazing session. We really appreciate. I've learned a lot.
Thanks for having me.
And I'm going to practice something, from what you've told us. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us, everybody, and I hope that you're gonna go and learn more about it, try and meet Alexandra, maybe have that taster session so that you can see whether it's a modality that works for you. And we're going to keep bringing more healing and wellness modalities to you so that you can learn more, try more, until you find what's your perfect fit given the situation that you are in and what exactly you want to achieve in life. So until next episode, keep it here, like our pages, share, and tell everybody about us. Bye.